glasses are hard to see, and that is just fine with me. Modus ponens is the plan. Serve you logic, I am.
Converted man here. I had a conversation with Atheist the other day on Facebook. His name was Daniel. And he was like, well, can you prove that there is no God? And can you explain consciousness? Where did the universe come from? I mean, it's so well designed, it had to have a designer. And you can't explain all these things. What about morals and ethics? What about that? You don't know. And look at all these prophecies that have been fulfilled. They've been fulfilled. How can you explain that away? You just want to sin. You haven't looked hard enough. You didn't look in the right way. You didn't read this one book. And that's why you're an atheist. And then he blocked me. Well, friends, you might think that that's something that really happened. And it could have been. We've heard things like this before. We've probably experienced something very similar. But what if lots of atheists started talking about the same story over and over again? Wouldn't we start to suspect that this really wasn't happening and instead was a made-up story? Especially if they didn't show you any screen images of the Facebook conversation in question. More so if it sounded more like a straw man than an actual conversation. Case in point, the following.
Hi, I'm Bob Sharp. Yesterday I had a chat with a militant atheist on Facebook. He was posting a lot of hateful posts, many of which appeared on my timeline. In short, he hated the God that he did not believe in. He said that people in the past got rid of Zeus, so we should get rid of God today. Well, I chuckled to myself. Fat chance of that, I thought. God can easily get rid of you, but you don't stand a chance at him. Well, I made the comments on a few of his posts, tried to give him some common sense, and he immediately made a comment back, so I knew he was online. So I posted a comment for him. I said, Robert, you seem to be an intelligent person and a thinker.
In my story, the guy was named Daniel, and my fake avatar name is Dan, which could be short for Daniel, but isn't necessarily. Bob is definitely short for Robert. So you're talking to yourself. This conversation never happened. I've heard this before. Militant atheist, really? What the bleep is a militant atheist? What does that even mean? Hateful things about God, like what? Can you give some examples? Where's this conversation? I went to the website listed on this video, and it's bad. I mean, it's bad. There's spelling errors that made me cringe, and I can't spell anything. But there's no link to a Facebook page. So I really don't think that this guy has a Facebook page. But just to make sure, typed in his name on Facebook. Yeah, I couldn't find him. So if he's on Facebook, he's hiding really well. Maybe he's hiding better than God. I don't know. But at any rate, this conversation probably didn't happen. Now, I wish I could say it didn't happen and leave it at that. But special knowledge prevents me from being able to say that. I just am going to say that it's really suspicious that you've had the same conversation with this straw man atheist that I've heard other people have had a million times. Not that many times before. I exaggerated. It's not a million times before. It's a lot of times before. I don't know how to quantify things. Back to the video.
So I'm curious about something. Of all the human knowledge that exists, what percentage would you estimate that you have?
And then I drew this circle, and I was like, okay, this is all of human knowledge. Now put a dot where your knowledge is, and could outside of that be God? Oh, it could be. So you don't know that there's not a God. I win. The circle argument's stupid. We've done the circle argument, except he's not using the circle. He's just doing the argument without the circle. But it's not even an argument. It's an appeal to ignorance. And the same can be flipped around back onto him. How much do you know? Okay. Now, could it be that there is no God? Or does your knowledge contain that there is a God somehow? And then in that case, how do you know that? You see, the reason I and others can say with some amount of confidence that there isn't a God, or there more than likely isn't a God, is because the methodology employed to see or find God is one that doesn't work anywhere else. It only works for religious ideas. It doesn't work for any other idea. If you went to buy a car and you weren't allowed to see the car, you weren't allowed to test the car, you had conflicting testimony about the car, you wouldn't buy the car. But you're supposed to do this for God. And unlike the car, which we know exists, we don't have any examples of what a God even is. So it's kind of a problem for the skeptic. The skeptic doubts this. And it's not a matter of proving that it isn't. It's just a matter of proving that it is. And no amount of an appeal to ignorance is going to change that. You don't know. You don't know either. We're in the same boat. The thing is, you assert that you do know. I don't. So your circuit argument's useless. Let's see what else Bob Sharp.e has to say.
The story of everything. Once upon a time, in the beginning, there was nothing. Nothing at all existed. No matter, no space, no energy, no life, no intelligence, no God. Nothing. Nothing at all. None of this existed because there was nothing, until an amazing thing happened. Nothing made everything out of nothing. It happened all by itself because there was nothing there to make it happen. Nothing made space. Nothing made the stars. Nothing made the planets. Nothing made air and water. It all just happened by itself. There was no life in the universe, so nothing created life. Nothing began with making tiny bits of life, single little cells that seemed so simple. The DNA in these cells is incredibly complex, but it still came about by nothing. So how could nothing make life out of nothing? Well, when you stop to think about it, it doesn't make much sense, does it?
There was nothing but magic. Just magic. Magic existed. There was no matter, no space, no energy, no life, no intelligence, no God, just magic. Magic, just magic. Nothing else except for magic existed. And magic, suddenly, magic made everything. When you stop to think about it, it doesn't make much sense, does it? Okay, so I'm going to spare you the rest of Bob's boring, pedantic, nothing can make nothing speech that we've heard a bazillion times. If you have really nothing, how can you get something from it? But God can make something out of nothing because it's God. But there could be no nothing because God is everywhere. So how could you have a God that made something out of nothing when nothing didn't exist? God would have had to make the universe out of itself because that's the only thing that exists is God. And nothing else exists, not even nothing. So God can't ex nihilo anything because all there is God. There is no nothingness. God made it out of itself somehow, I guess. But still, that's something, so God made it out of something. So before God made it, God had to think about making it. And before God thought about it, what did he do before that? And in fact, how can there be any before if there's no time? Well, that's okay. God is spaceless and timeless and doesn't make any sense. So stop thinking about it. Okay. That whole it doesn't make sense thing really bothers me because it's an appeal to personal incredulity. I don't understand this. Therefore, this is the answer. I don't understand how my door opened on its own. It must have been a ghost. Couldn't have been anything else. That's what it had to be. Really? Really? Okay, well, yeah, I guess. Well, you can't prove that there are no ghosts. How else can you explain the door opening? I saw it open. I felt like it was a ghost. I was really scared. It's the same thing. It really is. So Bob, a.k.a. Robert, is really good at appeal to personal ignorance and personal incredulity, and really good at repeating the same arguments we've heard before. But he's really bad at making web pages, because his web page is just totally messed up. Go visit it. Look at the second part of it. Look at all the misspelling and how badly it's presented, and how there's absolutely no links to like anything other than how to submit your email, which I think might have gone through, but I don't know for sure. Like, I got an email saying I sent him something, which what I sent was, hey, where's your Facebook page? Because I really would like to know. And I don't think I'm going to get a response ever. We don't have any empirical evidence, repeatable tests, or logically coherent argument, and unless and until we do, we must be skeptical of the conclusions. Okay, here we go. It's recording. Just leave that in. Whatever. Pleasing Patreon, please. People. Hector Defendi, Luis Castro, Godless Geezer, Joseph Schmidt, Jacob Santos. Thank you all for being a pleasant. Blah, 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 blah. And if you want your name probably mispronounced at the end of some of my videos, but not other ones, because I don't do it at the end of non-edited videos, because it's not edited, so I can't put them in there. I guess I could probably read them off. But anyways, you can pay me money on Patreon. It helps me to keep existing. Without existing, then I wouldn't exist, and I wouldn't be able to do this. And that's not good. So please help me do that if you can. And if you can't, then just, rate, comment, like, subscribe, favorite, tell everyone about it. Even if you can. Like either way, like, if you give me money or not, like, love everything I do and tell everyone about it. Like it's the best thing in the world, except for Toby Kid Major. She's better than I am. And then like Karen S. I don't know which one's better, like Karen S. and Toby. They both rejected me, so I guess there's no way to decide.